Welcome to Form 2 History and Government. We are going to have our online lessons in Form 2 work, and we are going to introduce another topic that is the social economic. We're going to introduce another topic that is socio-economic. The social, economic, and political of African societies. Socio economic and political organization. There is the word organization before. Organization of African societies in the 19th century. Socio-economic and political organization of African societies in the 19th century. That is our topic. And to start us off, in your Form 1 work, you studied about the people of Kenya up to the 19th century. My dear Lana, are you able to remember who are the people of Kenya from your Form 1 work? Very good. We had the Nilotes, we had the Kushites, we had the Bantus, who are the linguistic groups or the people of Kenya. You looked at how they migrated from their original homelands, traveled and settled down in the land of Kenya at their different places. And also you looked at how they were organized, how they took their affairs, how they settled down. And also you looked at how the people immediately after the invention of agriculture and how agriculture contributed to people settling down. So different societies had to settle down as a result of development in agriculture, because now it encouraged settlements. So the same way the Kenyan communities came and settled in Kenya, we are all now in this unit, in this topic, we are going to be discussing several African societies. Apart from what you have learned in your Form 1 work, now we are going to look at other African societies apart from Kenya. So these societies, we are going to look at them. We are going to discuss how they migrated, how they settled, and how they become organized, and that is especially during the 19th century. So my dear learner, people have different way of handling their own issues. And in Africa, as you all know, that we have different societies. We have different people settled at different places. So with development of settlements, with people, initially the people were moving from one place to another. They did not have a specific way of living. That is what we refer to as nomads. So they were on constant movement. They were moving from one place to another. They were hunting and gathering. So if they settled at this place, they are hunting or gathering tubers at that place, and that or those resources have been exhausted. So they had to move further and occupy a new place. So that was the life. But with development of agriculture, early agriculture encouraged settlements. It encouraged settlements. So people had to settle down, live in small groups. So in these settlements, there needed to be laws and regulations. Laws and regulations. That is what to manage how the settlements were going to function. So before the 19th century, societies started to organize themselves into small communities, into small tribes. But towards the 19th century, Africa witnessed a development of a greater society. So there were societies, a big group of people. Initially, they were just small. A family could just have their own way of living. But now, towards or during the 19th century, the African communities or the Africans had organized themselves in societies. Most of them had a decentralized system of governments, which was based on the clans. So related people, those people who are related to one another, could live in one area, having, for example, a clan elder making decisions on them. But there were other societies that were much more advanced. They had bigger groups of people living together. They were led by chiefs and kings, right? Others had emperors. Right? So these people or these societies lived together. They had to organize their resources. They had to organize their activities together, and they were led by, these larger societies were led by chiefs, or you could have a chief who is an overall leader. So in this unit, my dear learner, we are going to be discussing which are these societies, and we are going to mention, or we are going to discuss, 3 societies that had effectively developed by the 19th century. So we are going to look at 3 groups or 3 societies. The first one, we are going to look at the Baganda. The Baganda community, and also we are going to look at the Shona, and then lastly we are going to look at the Ashanti or the Asante. The Ashanti or the Asante are the groups that we are going to be discussing. These groups had organized themselves. They had elaborate systems of government. They had elaborate systems of worship. And that is what we are going to be discussing. When we talk of social, how are people interacting with one another? What were the rules and regulations based on how people interact? When we talk of economic, what were the activities that the people engaged in to maintain their livelihood? When we talk of political, how were they governed? What was the system of government? Did they have a leader? The leader, did he have assistants? Did he make rules? If not, who was responsible for making the rules of the land? That is what we are going to be discussing in our unit today, or in this unit of Form 2 work. Actually, it is topic 5 of your Form 2 work. So let us start with the Baganda. Let us start with the Baganda as the first community that we are going to look at. The Baganda. The Baganda. The Baganda Kingdom or the Baganda people. So, the first thing we have to mention, these are a Bantu speaking nation or a Bantu speaking people. Buganda was found or was concentrated in the East African part of the African continent. So, just like every other Bantu speaking people, they are believed to have originated from the Congo River Basin, as you have learned in your previous topics. The Bantus are believed to have originated from the Congo River Basin. So the Baganda as a people are believed, or there is evidence to point to the fact that they all are related to the other Bantus. But now, when they settled, actually they settled in what we refer to today as Uganda, right? If you are to trace them today, or you are to trace the Buganda society or the Buganda Kingdom, it is found in the present day Uganda. So they started their settlement, or they started to gather or develop as a society. It is believed during the 14th century. That is when it is believed they started to settle down in their present land, where we see today as Uganda. And we are going to look at the difference the different factors that encourage them to settle. But in the traditions of the Buganda or the Baganda people, there are two oral myths that explain. So there are two myths that explain the origin. There are two myths that explain their origin. So each people, as you have looked at, or as you have discovered in your previous learning, each community or each society has a story to tell of where they came from. The Baganda are not different. They have different ways or different myths. As myth is a story that tells, or an explanation of their origin. One is that it was founded by someone who was known as Kato Kintu. So some believe that this was the first leader, or he was the first person to initiate this kingdom. He is believed to have come from who originated from Mount Elgon. That is one myth that explains where the Baganda people came from. So they believe that this person, Kanto Kintu, was the person that initiated the kingdom or the society of the Baganda people. So when he settled around the areas of Lake Victoria, right, he was able to marshal a kingdom and developed what we call as the Buganda Kingdom. The other one was that it developed. It was founded by. The other one says that, or the other myth says that the Buganda Kingdom or the Baganda Kingdom was founded by Chimera, who is believed to be the brother the brother to Isongoma of Bunyoro, Kitara Kingdom. So this was another kingdom that was neighboring the Buganda Kingdom. So another myth explains that the brother to the leader of the Bunyoro Kitara, this is Bunyoro, Kitara Kingdom, who was known as Chimera, right, broke away or went away and started the Buganda Kingdom. So notwithstanding all these myths, the fact of the matter remains that the Buganda Kingdom started to develop. It initially was started as a very small state, but with time passing on, it developed and its systems grew and developed. But now we ask ourselves, what are these factors that encouraged or resulted to the Baganda Kingdom developing into a very strong nation? Because towards the 19th century, the Buganda Kingdom was the strongest. It was the strongest kingdom in East East Africa. So what are the factors that led to development? The factors for development of the Baganda Kingdom. Factors for the development of the Baganda Kingdom. What encouraged or what led to the kingdom's growing? The first one was strong and able leadership. The strong and able leadership. So with the development of this society, different leaders arose and led the people or led the societies. From these different myths that we have, it means that there were leaders who were able to unite the people. It acted as a uniting factor. United the people. They had the central kind of leadership, which was led by Kabaka. So, as we are going to learn when we look at the political and social organization, we are going to learn that the people of Buganda were united. They had a central man who was leading, who was known as Kabaka, who was the king at then. And then there arose different leaders. We had people like Kabaka Mutesa I, right, who was very essential in making sure that the people were able to be led. We had another one who was known as Kiabagu, right? This was among the founders, the founder Kabakas, Kiabangu, right? This was a leader who made a significant influence of uniting the people. Another factor that was very essential in making sure or leading to development of Buganda as a kingdom was cohesiveness. Cohesiveness of the people. The people lived as one community. They were united as one. They had come from different origins, or they are different, or they had diverse kind of origins, but they were cohesive. They were united as a kingdom. They lived as one people. That is another factor. The other one was an army. They had a very strong standing army. They had a strong standing army that could protect. It offered protection, and also it encouraged, or it was a source of pride, because they knew they had people to protect them. So as a kingdom, they were secure. as a people, they knew they had enough protection. And then another factor that really contributed, and this one was another very major one, was trade. The Baganda people started to engage during the 19th century. They started to engage in long distance trade. In long distance trade, they were also trading among themselves. Among themselves. So these resulted to a lot of wealth. They got resources that other communities could not be able to get. So with the trade, their economy was strengthened. They were able to sustain the people. So that brought peace. It brought some kind of stability because the economy was stable. The other one was source of food. They had a stable source of food. The Baganda were known for producing matoke. In other words, bananas. Right? So Buganda was a kingdom that was strategically located. It had enough rainfall throughout the year. So they could produce enough food. So with food, people are able to multiply. With food, people are secure in their lives. So these matoke could be available throughout the year. That means people do not starve. People have a constant supply of food. And then another reason or another factor that encouraged or led to the development of the Baganda Kingdom was the decline of Bunyoro Kingdom. So around the 18th century or 1884, right, at the beginning of the 19th century, this Bunyoro Kingdom that was the biggest rival before the ascension or before the development of the Uganda Kingdom, right, declined or they were defeated. So that created a vacuum. A vacuum that was now replaced by the Baganda Kingdom. So after the decline of the Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom, the Baganda put themselves in a place where they were able to control the affairs of East Africa as a kingdom, because this was their biggest rival. And now they are declined. So the Baganda took or seized that opportunity to put themselves as a better people or as a stronger kingdom. And then the second last factor, we are going to look at the conquests of neighbors. Because of the army that they had, the Baganda people were able to conquer. They were able to overcome their neighbors, thus expanding their kingdom. So as they expand to other areas, they are able to get tribute and people to respect them. And then lastly, they had very strong traditions. They had very strong traditions. These traditions allowed them to separate the activities of men and the activities of women. So they also had ways of worship that acted as a moral fabric of the society. So as a kingdom, they had one way of worship. They had a way of continuing with their activities. Every person knew what they were supposed to do at what time, right? Everybody knew their own resources. What are you supposed to do and what are you not supposed to do? So the traditions acted as a way of uniting and encouraging the growth of the kingdom. So my dear learner, today we have learned about the factors. We have learned about the origin of the Baganda Kingdom, how they developed, and the factors that contributed to them emerging as a strong African society. So, in our next lesson, my dear learner, we are going now to go deeper and look at how is this strong kingdom that developed, how are they organized in their social interactions? What were their economic activities? How was their leadership taken care of? And that is what we are going to be discussing in our next lesson. But before that, let us do a recap. And as a matter of our recap, I'm going to give you a question that is going to help you. Internalize what we have learned in our lesson today. So, a question. Identify the factors that contributed to the growth of the Baganda Kingdom. And we have mentioned different factors that contributed to the development of the Baganda Kingdom. And with that, I thank you, my dear learner, for joining me for our today's Form 2 History and Government lesson. Until the next lesson, it's bye-bye.